Something just dropped in the Charlie Kirk case, and I'm telling you right now, this is not a small update. This is the kind of detail that turns a closed narrative into a wide open problem. Because now the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk does not match the rifle tied to the suspect. Yeah. Let's go. So before we get into it, understand something. I'm not going to rehash my theories, dude. If you want to go watch those videos, I've done them. I have my own conclusions, which I've gave numerous times. I never, first off, thought that Tyler Robinson was the one who did it. Because the best image I got with this Bigfoot photo, okay? This is the best one. Never saw the kid with a rifle. And there was just so many inconsistencies to this thing. How quickly the government and local law enforcement, as well as the organization Charlie ran, just conveniently didn't want to ask questions. They just moved on past it. Some of the people closest in his life. So I'm not going to go down those rabbit holes. I've already done it. This video is going to be simple. What just came out, why it matters, and why this case still smells off. Okay. Now, the new court filings. This isn't rumors. This isn't some random post on Truth Social. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson, new court filing claims. So when I first posted this on Instagram yesterday, a lot of people were saying, oh, where Daily Post get their information from? It's on every media outlet. You just got to go look at it. It's just the one I snagged. It was the best looking one to post. Anyway, so actual filings say the fatal round cannot be forensically matched to the Mauser rifle tied to Tyler Robinson. This one here. Now, let's stop for a second. This rifle is not the rifle. If you watch my old videos, you heard me say that. This is not Tyler Robinson's rifle. This is a Getty Images picture from years before. We've never seen the rifle. We have no idea. But that is the one that was used in the picture circulating online. So if we pause right there, because this is where people either wake up or they stay comfortable. You don't get to call a case solved when the bullet doesn't match the gun. That's not a detail. That's not, oh, we'll figure that out later. That is literally the entire case, ladies and gentlemen. That's like saying, yeah, we found the guy, but the evidence doesn't actually connect him. Oh, okay, solid work. Give these guys a promotion. That is not how the real world works. But don't worry. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Everything is always a coincidence now, right? Everything you look at is a coincidence. Where there's smoke, there's fire, like I always say. So we can also stack this. I mean, a lot of things. One, like I've talked about before, does this even really look like the guy? This could look like 100 different guys. We went through the footage of him supposedly walking through yards one time with a lamp. They say, oh, well, maybe he hid the rifle in his pants, but that was like the exit one. On the entrance, he's got it in he's got shorts on. They say he broke it down, put it in a backpack. He jumped off the roof. He took the shot, broke down the rifle, left the screwdriver there, jumped off the roof, ran in the woods, reassembled the rifle now without the screwdriver, and left it there with 5 pieces of DNA. Let's stack it because it doesn't stop there with the bullet. Investigators reportedly found multiple DNA profiles on the rifle, multiple. Not one shooter's DNA, not clean. It's not isolated, multiple. So now we've got the wrong bullet, wrong match, multiple DNA. And we're still pretending this is airtight. We're still pretending that. At some point, you have to stop pretending this is normal because it's not. This is what messy looks like. This is what Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK type stuff looked like. And honestly, years ago, I might would have accepted this after reading the JFK files, after realizing, like I talked about in my video, either the episode yesterday or the day before, I just was not aware of the amount of power Charlie Kirk had. He had a massive control over the GOP. It's incredible. We're going to get that in a moment because I just was unaware. Really, I thought it was just a guy who went to campuses and kind of razzed up the college kids, debating them, made some YouTube videos. That's what I thought, really. But this is messy. This is what unresolved looks like. Again, the same thing as I see with the JFK files. Now, and this is where I step in, okay? Because I've been watching this case from the beginning. And honestly, I tried to stay measured. I didn't try to jump on every conclusion. I didn't go full conspiracy mode, although I do have conspiracy theories, I guess you would say, to what happened. I had a episode with my good friend Jimmy Watson, former Marine, Blackwater guy, and Navy SEAL sniper, and we discussed it in depth. If you want to go watch that video, like a few months back, and even the sound of the shot does not seem to be coming, and that was before even the acoustics came out, showing that the location of the shot was not in that area. So all those things adding up, but now this is where it stops making sense. And before I go further, because I saw the Reddit commandos coming out saying, "Oh, it's because the bullet got mangled. This happens a lot." Yeah, it does, but not a 30-06 of a Mauser rifle, not going through soft tissue. I know that we were told that he had in a post made by I think 2PUSA stating that he had Superman bone structure that stopped the round. I've seen countless videos of people recreating this with expensive gel bodies with bone structure, and it just blows it apart. I've seen guys use actual animals trying to replicate with bone diameter, meat packing, explosive, to say the least. Because I just believe that if the bullet was trapped inside, it wouldn't be that deformed that you wouldn't be able to find some rifling on the round, on the projectile. I just don't know if I believe that. Because this isn't just one issue. This is a pattern of issues, right? You think about everything we've seen. Questions about Robinson's familiarity with the rifle. Like, of all the weapons you could have you chose the Mauser 30-06. Hard for me to believe that. I could be wrong. And again, this is not the rifle, although they try to claim it to be. But that this kid here just decided one day to go take out Charlie Kirk as a lone actor. Honestly, that never really felt fully locked in either. He then goes on to his lover and tells pretty much the whole confession that was actually a screenshot, not even a screenshot, a photo taken supposedly by one of the officers' phones. They actually don't even have the actual transmission of the messaging. And now we have physical evidence that doesn't line up. That ain't tightening the case, man. This thing is unraveling. It's unraveling. And it's incredible that people still trust the media. They still trust the government. They still trust when they're told a narrative, right? And then right as soon as this breakthrough comes out about the bullet doesn't match, the sheriff involved in Robinson's surrender, guess what he does? He resigns immediately. Yeah. Now, just to be devil's advocate, I'm going to be clear here. That does not automatically mean he's involved. But let me also be clear. That doesn't look clean either. Timing matters. And that timing is terrible. But again, probably just another coincidence. Man, we've got a lot of coincidences about things lately. You know, I always say, though, is that if you've watched me for some time, is that where there's smoke, there's fire. I've lived my life by that rule. And man, I'm telling you, more times I'm right than I'm wrong. You just look at what they call pattern recognition. I talk about that all the time, pattern recognition. Now, here's where things get uncomfortable because it isn't just about bad evidence. This is about what wasn't allowed to be investigated. Remember Joe Kent, who's got a smear campaign going against him because he stepped out of his role because of the Iran war. They're smearing this guy, 11 combat tours, Green Beret, CIA. His wife died in combat. Joe Kent goes on Tucker Carlson and said he was working counterterrorism inside D.C. There were indicators of a possible foreign nexus at the Charlie Kirk assassination. Something there, something worth digging into. And what happened? He got shut down, investigation blocked, conversation killed. Why wouldn't you just let the man look into it? Why wouldn't you just let him look into it?
And to investigate foreign ties to Charlie Kirk's murder, and were told by the FBI, DOJ?
FBI and DOJ, yeah.
No, you're not allowed to investigate that.
Stop. It's done. They basically cut off our access to be able to get into that information. And look, I didn't even say necessarily that I believe there's 100% foreign ties. There were data points that we needed to investigate. I mean, I think anybody who's even, looked at any kind of police investigation, you get 100 leads, you run them down, and 99 don't mean anything. We still had a lot more leads to run down that pertained to some kind of a foreign nexus that we were stopped from investigating.
You believe there was reason?
Wow. You have to ask yourself, why? Why? What did the media do with all this? Nothing. They moved on fast. No obsession, no 24/7 breakdowns. No, we need answers energy. Just silence. And that should bother you. And let me tell you, if this happened to my spouse, I would be going absolutely bananas trying to find answers. If anything smelled off, I would not sleep until I found the truth, right? Because when something actually doesn't add up and nobody wants to touch it, that's when you lean in, not back. Candace Owens, which she's got a lot of hate about this, she says, where are all my neocons who have been overwhelmed by the non-existent evidence against Tyler Robinson? You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Hope the money was worth your soul. And the other part no one wants to discuss is about the 7 sets of fingerprints were found on the gun, which the bomb dogs did not find, which means it wasn't fired at all. Overwhelming. Again, if this was my spouse that had suffered this horrible public assassination, I'd be all over. So let's pivot for a moment, because this ties into something else happening around this case, the Erika Kirk situation. And look, I know that I've said some things that I just don't understand the way. I don't think I'd behave the same way, but everybody agrees differently, they say. So they say. I don't know that. I just know that I would be completely different. I'd be heartbroken. I doubt I'd be able to lead a company. I would spend every waking moment with my children trying to comfort them. But, again, we all grieve differently, guys. I can't tell you. So a video had actually just dropped. Drewski doing another parody, not naming her directly, but it's clearly satire. And suddenly, cease and desist, public meltdowns, attacks on Elon Musk and X. Take this down. I'm not exaggerating when I say this man is now racking up over 150 million views, humiliating me, mocking me, and turning me into a global joke while your platform just let it spread. This is disgusting, defamatory, and degrading. Remove it. This video, Elon Musk replies, has 150 million views because people want to watch it. X supports free speech, comedy, parody, and content people choose to engage with. We are not removing lawful content just because it offends someone. That is not how this platform works. So the thing is, I believe that it's called freedom of speech. I thought that was a conservative ideology. I know people made fun of Charlie Kirk, man. He took it in stride, didn't care. South Park made an episode about him. He laughed it off. But the thing is, when something hits a little too close, a little too much truth to it, that's when it hurts. That's why I talk about the pin of shame. You'll notice people talking trash to me, and I'll pin their comment because I don't care. None of that shit's hitting close to home to me. I don't care. I don't care if somebody says something about me. It doesn't matter. And it didn't stop there, though. It goes on to 50 Cent. They put the two pictures of Erika Kirk here and expect nobody to notice. He's being funny. 50 Cent is the ultimate troll, if you didn't know. He's a very funny guy. He's always trolling everybody. Nobody is off the table. And to me, I would take it as a compliment to get trolled by 50 Cent because he's so good at it. Anyway, I said, 50, are you blind or just committed to being disrespectful? That is not me. Y'all keep posting this man in a wig and makeup like you proved something, and it's getting old fast. Stop playing in my face. Like, why would you be that offended? Why would you be that offended? It doesn't make sense. Listen, this is the internet. Parody exists, comedy exists, and you don't get to shut it down because you don't like it. Free speech is free speech. Just because you don't like something, that's even more reason to post it because it's freedom of speech. There's no such thing as hate speech. It's only free speech. And if you try, you just usually make it you make it go viral, which congrats, that's exactly what happened. But here's why this matters, because it adds to the overall picture. Everything around this situation feels controlled, feels reactive. It feels like they're trying to shape perception instead of just letting truth stand on its own. Now let's talk about Charlie himself. Before his death, he was publicly questioning foreign involvement in Iran, pushing back on Iran war narratives, calling out the neocons, deep state actors like Lindsey Graham, warning about boots on the ground. This document I talked about, showed this post yesterday. No nukes for, this was after the B-2 bombing that supposedly took out the weapons of mass destruction that they were 2 weeks away from building, that they were able to get to 2 weeks away again after total annihilation. But anyway, no nukes for Iran, no troops on the ground, no U.S. troops dead, no regime change, no nation building, no war. President Trump with a historic masterclass. Unfortunately, all of that got thrown down the drain, okay? And that ain't up for debate, man. He's got tons of videos on it too, which I've played before. We know his stance on it. There's no question. And now we're being told he would have supported the exact opposite. No, that's not accurate. That is revision. That is, he's not here to say it, but he said what he said numerous times. So I'm sure he would probably be questioning it. You don't get to rewrite someone's position after they're gone. I'm sorry. That's just not how it works. And I'm going to say this straight. Something changed after Charlie Kirk died. You felt it. I felt it. The tone shifted. The direction shifted. Things got more aggressive, more escalatory, less questioned. That's not nothing. Even he backed Thomas Massie, said he was one of his favorites. Now Thomas Massie is under tremendous amount of attacks. So like I said in the beginning of the video, is that since Charlie Kirk has died, there's been a massive shift in the GOP, the Republican movement, MAGA, whichever it is, that person I had to walk away from. I'm politically homeless now because I can't agree with any of this stuff. They even were trying to name a highway and got vetoed by Arizona governor after Charlie Kirk. Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. But you have to ask yourself about all these things. Now, let me show you something real quick, because this, I don't shield for many people, but I believe in health being hard to kill. And this ties directly to performance, aging, and why most people fall off without even realizing it. Dude, I'm getting old. I'm getting old, if you can't tell. If you've been watching me since the inception, I was a young man when I started this thing, okay? 14 years now, getting old. Things don't work the same until I got on Black Forest supplements. But you hear what Tony Robbins says here. Check him out.
Your sirtuins do two things. First, They turn on and off genes. Well, they also have a competing component, because they can only do so much, which is cleaning up your DNA. These sirtuins have a fuel that you've probably heard of called NAD. So NAD is wonderful, but NAD is a size molecule that, as you probably know, needs a precursor called NMN to actually get into the body. 2 years, top secret, they have been working with our military, with our special forces.
So they've been doing trials with special operations with NMN, NAD. Okay. Now, the NMN is a precursor, so you take it. The NAD people inject. Harvard studies shown that the pill is actually taken as a precursor is more effective than the shots. So I know some people do the shots, but it's actually more effective taking the supplement. And again, military is using it. That's not some motivation fluff. That's pointing at something most people never even think about. What's happening at the cellular level? That's essentially not anti-aging, but reverse aging. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because a lot of people think you can just take NAD directly again and suddenly feel like you're 25, and that is not how the body works. Listen to Dr. Gary Brecka here. Appreciate this guy. He's a wise man. Gus, he has a lot of information.
NAD, it's actually not NAD, it's NAD plus, and that little positive is the reduced form of NAD, which means that charge can't really pass through first pass metabolism. You can't just drop NAD into the stomach. It will just immediately dissociate.
So you have to take it and it converts to NAD. The NMN does. It's a precursor. Your body converts it to NAD naturally. That is the difference between doing something that sounds good and something that actually works for your biology. And here's the reality nobody wants to talk about. When you're young, your NAD levels are high. You've got energy, recovery, drive, and then around 30s, 40s, it starts getting cut in half. No warning. First is your energy, your recovery. Then one day you wake up and your body just doesn't respond the same. That is not getting older. That is internal decline. Now, I'm not telling you this to sell you some magic pill. I'm telling you this because I've seen the difference myself. You've watched me over the years. You've seen how it changed. I run Black Forest NMN. Simple reason. It's clean, made in the U.S., third-party tested, and they added bioperin, which is actually helps your body absorb more of it. It's not hype. It's just better efficiency. And yeah, before someone jumps in the comments, it's not a miracle fix. You still need to train. You still need to have discipline and not eat like a damn dumpster fire. But this is one of those things that supports the engine underneath it all. Now, Europe banned NMN back in 2022, and they tried to do it here in the U.S. as well. Not because it's dangerous, but because it works too well without needing a prescription. At the same time, big pharma companies are working on their own version for thousands of dollars. Same playbook, different decade. I thought all that'd get fixed when RFK Jr. came in, but not really. Nothing happens in the swamp, right? Now, there's clinical studies showing that NMN boosting NAD levels significantly with improvements tied to things like recovery and metabolic function. So you lose weight, okay? Visceral fat. So this is not some kind of influence or hype. It's actually being looked at seriously. Now, if you want to try it, cool. I got a link below. If not, ignore it. But don't ignore the principle. Most guys wait until their body forces them to change. The smart ones get ahead of it. They're running Black Forest Supplements is running a 48-hour buy one, get one free deal right now. It's not something I'd sit on if you're already thinking about it. The link's in the pinned comment, and you can try their other products as well. Okay. Now, let's switch gears again because we're here. People are calling me a idiot the other week. Some of the Red Hat Kool-Aid drinkers. Gas hits $4 per gallon amid Iran war. What? That was short-term pain, long-term gain. Costs are rising, tensions are rising, and people told you, trust the plan. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Trump knows what he's doing. Yeah. How's that working out? Because I saw something, guys, and it hit. And I'm going to say it straight. Okay. When Biden was in office, we wanted no new wars, to cut government spending, stop sending billions overseas, and lower the national debt. Finally fix America. And now you want those same things, and suddenly you're the problem. Now they call you a liberal when you want those things that you voted for. Isn't it crazy? Isn't that crazy? We were all cheering in unison. And now they call you a liberal. Wild times. So let's bring it back to reality. If the bullet doesn't match the gun, if the DNA doesn't match the story, if investigations get shut down, if key people resign at the worst possible moment, then the case is not clean, and anybody pretending it is either isn't paying attention or doesn't want to. Because at some point, you have to ask yourself, are we being told the truth, or are we just being told something that sounds good enough to say, hey, move on, peasants? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on all this. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Make sure you go try some NMN, buy one, get one free, site-wide, 48 hours. And remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. This is Black Scout Survival, and I will see you in the next one. Black Scout.
2, 3. 1, 2.